Huck saved my life. And I say that because there were times when I was actually homeless, and the only thing I cared about was wrestling. And I wouldn't have food. I would wear the same clothes over and over again. He would actually bring me food from work. You know, he could have got fired. He had a family support, but he would bring me food from work every night just to make sure I ate. I had many a dark time, and there was many a situation where I just didn't care anymore. I wasn't even sad. I just was so completely desensitized. There was a situation at that same hotel room where a man was gunned down in the room next to me. And I was so desensitized that my thought was, let me just open this door. You know, I don't care what happens. And I called Huck. And I don't know what made me do it, but I called Huck and he actually kept me in the room. And I can't give that dude enough credit. That's why, as pissed off as I was that he did what he did at the show, I understood it. Because he does look at me as the little brother that he never asked for.
When I first met Joe, I saw the potential. He was nowhere near as big as he is now, but I knew what he could do. And from the very first day I met him, I was like, hey, look, I know what you want to do. I know what you can do. Here's a little bit of advice. And then fast forward a couple of years, and I still didn't feel like he was getting the credit that he deserved. He still wasn't getting noticed like he should have been. So I was like, hey, I have a few years of experience on Joe and a few years of life experience on Joe as well. And I was like, hey, you want to jump in the car? And he was like, yes. And from that first road trip, we rode together every weekend for, I'll say, like 4 or 5 years.
And just from that standpoint, I don't know what to call him. I'm not going to do him a disservice by just, he's family, you know, or he's a mentor, because outside of wrestling, like I said, he's the reason why I am who I am in wrestling. And I never even gave him that credit before, but if it wasn't for him taking me to Tennessee on the road, I probably would have quit a long time ago.
I think when it comes to Joe, I think a lot of people assume that I tell Joe what to do. I assume a lot of people look from the outside looking in and assume that I'm like his mentor, but it's more of a big brother, little brother relationship.
No one looked at Huck and said, I'm a walk with you, I'm gonna hold your hand, and I'm gonna teach you the ways of wrestling or the world. He had to learn it the hard way like I did. So the respect from Huck was born from the fact that he was a man.
This business will eat you up, and Joe is very passionate. And sometimes I have to be like, hey Joe, slow down. It's okay, it's not that serious. If it's not affecting your daily life, don't worry about it. Not just that in wrestling, but outside. Because like I said, he's one of my best friends.
Real life is what made me have such a vast amount of respect for Huckabee.
I told Joe a long time ago, I know that I will never get to a level that Joe will get to. But if he gets to that level, which I know he will, his success is my success, because I was there when nobody else believed in you. I will always push you to be better because I know that you're better. I think this is a revision, rewriting, artistic rewriting. The Sound and the Fury.
I don't know how I feel about The Sound and the Fury ride again, because usually when I close a book, I have no intention to read it again. You know, it's not going to change the outcome of that book. I usually burn said book and I move on to another one.
I think it's just a director's cut to remind people of who we are, of what we're capable of, what a real tag team looks like, what real wrestling. Everybody's talking about, oh, we want old school wrestling, we want old school wrestling. But nobody really knows what old school wrestling is. I think we're shorter versions of every big powerhouse tag team with better technical skill and more agility. We cause havoc. We like to fight. We like the contact. If you get in the ring with myself and Joe Black, you know you better pack a lunch.
So now that I have to recover said book from the pile of ashes and reform it and maybe even write a new chapter, I'm not excited about it. But if it gets business done, if it means I can get my hands on Owen and David, because I still owe him, I mean, I guess I'd rather have Huck watching my back than somebody else claiming to be a team member or a part of a group or whatever. When Joe Black is 100%, his 100%, I'll snap my fingers and the world will crumble before me. Wrestling, I love you. It's time for you to pay me back.